What's up, everybody? I really wanted to make a video about Jarrett Stidham. I think everybody in New England knows him as the guy who's going to take over for the greatest of all time. Up in the Northeast, we don't follow college football as closely. I mean, we got BC, we got Syracuse, but I didn't know all about Jarrett Stidham, where he committed, what adversity he went through in college, and also his life story. And I think to figure out where a quarterback is going, you got to understand where he's coming from, especially in his life. But I was really impressed by the type of person that he is now with what he went through, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. It's really kind of vague in terms of all the news that came out about him and his family, and he talks about it very generally, but he's from Kentucky and he moved to Stevenson, Texas with his mom and his sister, and it's not exactly known what happened with him and his dad or him and his family, but what we do know is right when he turned 18, he moved in with the Copeland family. So the Copeland family was from Stevenson, Texas. They owned a lot of college stores, so I think it's like the bookstores, that type of stuff, and Jarrett was living or working in one of those, and that's how he generated a relationship with them. Anytime that Stidham talks about his past life, he just talks about hardships, and he talks in generalities, so it's difficult to understand exactly what happened, but we do know he went through some hardships. So jumping into his playing career, he's from Stevenson, Texas. He had high expectations, and in his junior year, he went 12-2. He was a top prospect quarterback. He competed in the Elite 11, which is a top program for quarterbacks in high school in the nation, and expectations were very, very high for his senior season because didn't make the state championship his junior season, but they were really moving in that direction. And if you don't know Texas football, especially in Stevenson, it sounded like it was state championship or bust. So Bleacher Report made that documentary. It was really awesome. I love short documentaries like that follow the kids around and give you an insight to how their town was, what the expectations were, and how good he was in high school. And they really, really bought into him being an NFL quarterback. His senior season, he threw for 2,900 yards and rushed for 900 yards. He was a top dual threat quarterback in the country. But here's the thing, they lost in the regionals, so they didn't make it to that state championship, but he ended up having a pretty great year, as you can see by the numbers. He had 20 D1 offers. Some of the bigger names on that list were Texas, Alabama, Baylor. There were a bunch more. It was a really, really impressive list. He was a sought-after quarterback, and he ended up choosing Baylor. So he goes over to Baylor. He's a third-string quarterback over there. I believe a couple quarterbacks got hurt, and that's how he got his chance. Happened to be against K-State, a really difficult place to play, and he delivered 419 yards in that game and 3 touchdowns. But 2 games later, in Oklahoma State, he broke his ankle and fibula. Not a good injury to have, so that essentially ended his season. And for some of you younger guys out there, Baylor had a big scandal, so a lot of college coaches were covering up some sexual assaults. 7 girls came forward actually about one player, and nothing was done about it. So obviously it became huge national news, and Jarrett decided to leave Baylor. He also had to leave the Big 12, so if you were going to transfer schools, he had to leave the conference. And he decided to go to McLennan Community College. I was going to say country club, but that's over in Waco. And what's funny about that is there's no football even at that community college. So essentially it was like he was taking a year off. He ended up practicing with a high school team, and I found this story really interesting too. He ran scout team against the varsity defense to get them prepared for some of their games, and he was running a lot of different offenses. Obviously you're running an offense, different offense each week for that school that they're playing. And Baylor, funny enough, some of the players were kind of trashing on him, saying that he was bailing on the team, which, you know, I give him props for leaving Baylor. Anyways, when he decided to jump back into college football, he returned to Auburn. So Auburn was going after him again. They really wanted him to join the school. They actually really were they were seeking him big time when he was coming out of high school. They really liked Jarrett as a quarterback, and they wanted him to come and play for Auburn. So he did well at Auburn, especially in that junior year. He beat Alabama in a game, but ended up losing in the SEC championship. In that final season, Auburn did struggle, but there's a lot of things that went wrong there. There's a lot of drop passes from that squad. Wasn't a great offensive line, but I'm not making excuses for Stidham. But he played 27 games overall, over 5,900 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. So he had a pretty good run there. And he ended up being drafted by the Patriots right in the round where he was projected to go. So he went, I believe, 133rd overall. The Patriots picked him up, and he had a perfect first year. You get to learn under Tom Brady, Brian Hoyer, 27 years combined in a system with Bill Belichick. Even though he probably could use another year to prepare, I'm pretty excited to see what Stidham can do. I think he's going to grasp this pretty quick. I've seen a lot of his film in college and seen, Yeah, he's definitely made some mistakes, but I really love a quarterback who's gone through adversity, and he's definitely been through quite a bit in his personal life, in college. Going from Baylor, dealing with that scandal, going to community college, really humbling yourself and working out with high school players. And even in his last year in Auburn, it didn't go the way that the ideal senior season would have went. That's a school that is, again, national championship or bust, and it really didn't work out for him very well. And he's continued to move forward, and he's improving big time. I love seeing him in the preseason last year, even though some of the throws were really, he had a lot of wide open throws, there weren't any tight window impressive plays. He really played well. He made some good decisions, even if you want to say it's NFL preseason. I'd love to see. I'm still excited to see what he can do for the Patriots, and I hope he's going to be starting week 1. Even though I think the possibility of Brian Hoyer starting week 1 with his experience, 7 years in that system, understanding Belichick, it's very possible. But love to hear how humble he is. He seems like a great person, really high character. Over and over again, you hear quotes from people that know him saying how great of a human being he is. So happy that he's on the Patriots. And let me know in the comments below what you think he's going to do for the Patriots. Do you think he's going to be a long-term starter, or do you think he is just going to be maybe a backup at best? Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. This is the Couch Coaches channel. Keep an eye out for more player profiles. We'll be putting more of these out. Be sure to watch Hook Cam's film studies. Those are the best. We'll see you next time.